name is Chrissy Clements. Everyone watches accesstv.org.
To another segment of All Politics is Local with your host, Arjo Winch. And today I have on the show Lori from the Relationship Show. So if it looks like we're wearing the same thing, we are. If it looks like this is a continuation of the last show, it is. So I just wanted to let you know that you're not seeing things. Lori and I are here, and it was just so much to talk about. And we didn't get where we wanted to get with you in this conversation, so we're going to continue it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the announcements out of the way so we can get right to the talk. So I have the very important 57th Presidential Inauguration Celebration is going to be held at the American Legion on January 21st, which is a Monday night, starting at 6:30. And for those of you who say, well, that's the Martin Luther King celebration day, and it is. And not by accident, because remember, our president has to be installed by January the 20th. So what they're going to do is install the president privately on January the 20th, and then have the inauguration celebration on January the 21st. Because remember, this is a fulfillment of the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. So we didn't want to try to have two events on the 20th and the 21st. You can imagine that people would not have had an opportunity to get back to Washington, could not participate. So this way, you're going to get a twofer. We're going to celebrate Martin Luther King and celebrate the inauguration of the 57th presidential inauguration, where President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden, which you all went out so hard to work for, the middle class that is, went out so hard and worked to get them reelected so that they can, continue to support things that are important to the 98% of us who live in this country. And we're going to get to that a little bit later on, because we're going to talk about the issue that's hot right now is about gun control because of the incident that happened in Newtown, Connecticut. So give me one more minute. Let me make the other announcements that we have from the Athletic Club, the Sportman Athletic Club, starting on January the 4th. Every Friday night, they're going to have oldies but goodies. So that's not something that you eat. That means people in our age group who really appreciate the old school music that we used to electric slide to. We still slide to anything. And then the ones that we used to do that, what was that one day? We used to do the twist, we used to do the shop around. We're gonna bring all that stuff back. So y'all come back there, those people who learned to do the robot, which I never did. And those of y'all who do the worm, I never learned that either. So you don't know what the worm is, Lori Young. Lori, let me tell you. Lori gonna come, and y'all who know how to do the worm, we're gonna teach Lori how to worm. All right? So some of y'all long, skinny guys, come to the Sportman Club on Friday night, because them the ones who worm the best. I never learned how to do the worm either. I guess I'm too stocky or something. I just ain't had worm coordination. So, but anyway, every Friday night at the Sportman Club, and I think the last Friday night is that they're going to be doing the comedy show with Victor Luna Productions. The show that normally goes to Foxwood is going to be at the Sportman Club. I think it's every third Friday. If I don't have it right, you know what? Call them. Come down on a Friday, even if it's not that Friday, and check and see. If it's not there, then come back the Friday that it is. All right? So you have a good time. So then they're also going to have an after-hour party, because 10 o'clock on a Friday night, people just don't want to go home. So you can stay to the after party. All right? So that's going to be every Friday night at the Sportman Club, which is located at 2976 Main Street, Hartford, Connecticut. So you all come on down. And then don't forget the inauguration on January 21st, starting at 6:30. At the American Legion, which is at 2121 Main Street in Hartford, Connecticut also. The tickets are very reasonable. For those of you who want additional information, you can call Mike Chambers at 860-250 860-236-7956. You can call Linda King Corbin at 860-881-3918, or you can call yours truly, Arjo Winch, at 860-796-2368. I can't believe I had to look at the paper to see my own phone number.
That's
But
okay.
anyway,
But you wanna
and
get it
one of
right.
the other things that I have to do, otherwise they're going to come on the show and just run me down, is let you all know that the event is going to be catered by, and many of you are in the Hartford area know Miles, Adrian Miles, and I'm telling you, you don't want to miss a meal that is not only prepared but served by Miles and his catering team. They are wonderful. And then we're going to have our old school music played by none other than our favorite DJ, Mark Williams, who also works for, I don't know if I can put these two together, but I'm going to. He's a city employee. He works, for the city of Hartford. So he works for you during the daytime, and then he also, DJs for you, at night, because he's just that community kind of person.
Wow.
But Lori,
that sounds wonderful.
how horrific is the incident?
I know, and I'm still struggling with why. I just don't understand why this even had to be. It sounded like it was a family kind of issue, and it spilled over and affected the community.
Yeah, actually it affected the nation. Not only the nation, I think it's really affected the world.
Yeah.
Because, my other favorite station other than this one, which is accesstv.org, is MSNBC.
Oh, wow.
Because they were talking about how this has happened. This is not the first incident that happened. And we know, those of us who are in the city of Hartford, that unfortunately these kind of things, happen too often, in our communities for various reasons. But this is like the one to say, you know what? Stop.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. We're not going to continue to let this go unanswered.
And I'm a parent, you're a parent, and there's parents out there today. And to your point, yes, it affected the nation, affected the world. I mean, when can things make a difference? And right now, folks are arguably saying, "Oh, well, it's the gun. If there wasn't the gun in the house, he would never have done this." I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too, because I wasn't there. I wasn't, in it, but I'm telling you, this was not the first time that this child has exerted anger, have had like frustration, against their parent, to let the parent know that, this is going on. Let me tell you, I'm a multitasking person. I check kids. Don't make me come over there and check you. I will check you in 5 seconds. So, y'all excuse me for a minute, because I'm a parent, so I'm just multitasking here. I have my child over here trying to act up, but I'm not going to let her do that, because she understands that she has her place, and right now it's over there. All right, so let's get back to where we were.
Yes.
Because y'all know me. Y'all know I'm crazy, right? But
It's
that's
love,
okay,
but she
because
does
I
have
love
love.
kids,
Love.
and I love you all, and I want to make sure that y'all understand
That's right.
that, in my opinion, I think that this was a parent judgment call. If I know that my child has developmental issues, mental issues, and all kind of things going on with him, even although I'm a parent that I might like rifles, I might like shooting, I might like all these things, I'm not going to put any dangerous things, in my possession that might possibly get to my child's possession.
I agree.
So I'm sure this was a very difficult, decision, and the parent's not there, anymore, so we can't talk to her. Her son is not there, we can't talk to her, but the father's
still alive, so maybe he can shed some light on the
Yeah.
relational thing, and maybe there's certain things that he could educate us. Maybe that will be the outcome of all of this, in terms of him being a parent, seeing what had happened to his child, and how it transcended into so many different levels, affecting so many different lives. Maybe that might be a wake-up call, and they can figure out what happened that transpired that caused all of this
and if the
devastation.
father's not feeling that this might be an intrusive to his personal life, maybe he
you're
can
so
use
sweet.
this, to help other parents. Because, a lot of times things happen to us, we think it's just us, and it's like, that's my business, I'm not willing to share it. But I was telling Lori about my gun story, because you all know on Lori's story, I tell you all the time about the stupid stuff that I did. I don't even know why I'm still breathing, really, because I have done some really
starting to
stupid
believe
stuff.
that, yeah.
And I was explaining to Lori that parents, if you have a gun in your home, don't even make the mistake of thinking that, one, your child doesn't know that it's there, two, that your child doesn't know where it is, that your child doesn't know how to make access to it. Because I'll tell you my personal story. I was 14 years old My parents were not at home. I don't know where they were, at that time that this was happening, but I remember so vividly going to my parents' room. It wasn't even in my space. Going to my parents' room, rambling in drawers, and came across this gun. My mother didn't know the story to today, and I already told Lori, my mother gonna beat me, and I'm 59 years old when she find out. But I found the gun, and I was trying to pull the trigger with my fingers. The trigger was not going. Thank God my father had enough sense to put the safety on. So I turned the gun around, and I was pushing it with my thumbs, because it wouldn't go off.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I must have hit the safety or the release, and the magazine fell out. That's where the bullets are held. Even at 14, I knew, like, oh my God, this thing could really happen. I slid it right back in so easily, put it right back where I found it, and never said anything to my parents about it, because my parents was unbeaten child abuse kind of parents.
No.
There was no child abuse when I was
you,
growing up. You see what I'm saying? But out of the fear, same thing with the refrigerator we talked about. My parents would have wore me out twice and told my uncle and my auntie they would have came over. They would have came over and wore me out too, girl, because that's how my family get down. Okay, so parents, please, if you have weapons in your home, make sure if you not. I mean, I don't even know why in inner city, unless you go to the firing range regularly, why you even have a gun.
I agree. But then to your point, if they have a right, there's no
they
reason
do have the right.
If someone can have a gun, people collect knives, people collect bow and arrows.
Yes.
It's about how you choose
sporting things.
Absolutely.
So, and for those of you who own guns, who have legally purchased a gun and went through all of the things, and I will tell you, this was a mother who did that too. She had the right to own a gun. She had the background investigation. She was a substitute or some kind of teacher, in the school. If it was volunteer, whatever it was, it's not clear to what that was. She did all the right things to own a gun.
Yes.
However, if your child is disturbed, is this something you should have in your home?
I don't think personally, but that was sad. I still don't know how we're going to all, as a nation, recover from this.
Yeah, but me, I'm about the Constitution, and I am not a gun owner. Do I know how to shoot a gun? Yeah, I was in the military for 24 years. Of course I know how to shoot a gun. Would I own a gun? No. Wow. Because there are too many stipulations, too many things that could possibly happen. Remember the fact that I was a child who roamed into my parents' space and found a gun? I would be devastated if my granddaughter was rambling through my stuff and found that gun and had that same incident, that same scenario, but I don't have the safety on.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Agree.
I would be devastated, for that to happen to her. So I would never have a gun in my home because of personal experience.
Absolutely.
But that does not say that people doesn't have the right to have a gun. And I know that right now, politically, we're talking about, politics and local stuff here. Politically, I feel like the people who have the right to own guns are under attack because of this has happened. So they're talking about gun laws, and gun safety is probably a better thing to talk about. Or maybe they should be in a more secure place so that you could still have that gun, but it's not going to be somewhere that the wrong people can get their hands on, because this was not a gun violation.
Not at all, not in the least.
So, but it still was a horrific incident that happened because the person possessed the gun that they had the right, to have. I was telling Lori that I lived in Texas for over 15 years, and people were in Texas what they call tote guns, and it has to be in a holster. They got rifles in the back of their cars and trucks. People don't break in the car and take their guns. People aren't out in the street having shootouts. It's just a matter of culture.
That's right.
So I don't, want people to come under attack because they own a gun when the Constitution says they have the right to own one. But what I do want is people to be very, very careful, extremely careful. And I don't know how I feel about teaching my child how to shoot a gun when I know they have mental conditions.
Oh, I know. Now, do you think
this was a parent?
Now, you think the parent knew? Do you think the parent knew that their son had some kind of issues that it could spill into this travesty?
I don't think that she knew the magnitude of her son's illness, but I do believe that at many occasions, not just one occasion, but on many occasions that he had outbursts, and maybe threatened because they said, well, what triggered it? Nobody knows, but it started with the girlfriend. So maybe that right there got it all started. Whatever it was, we don't know. Hopefully time will tell. But whatever it was, he started with the girlfriend. then went to the mother, and then this again is Arjo. I'm not no psychologist. I just know kids. And I think that whatever he was killing in the mother, he was also killing the things that was important to her, because otherwise he had no reason to go to the school.
And you know what? We were talking earlier about the president and how he was weeping and everything.
Oh, that was
and
so
how
emotional.
That was beautiful. And what about the helicopters? I think he's here.
Yeah, he's in Connecticut. He's
Wow,
in Connecticut.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I just think about how, you know, you see our president, the strong, you know, how he personifies strength, and to see a humanistic, vulnerable side. As a
Because he
parent.
became a father
He
at that
became a
moment that
father.
happened. You know, he became a father, and he was addressing the nation as a father,
Yes.
not as a leader,
Yes,
not as a
yes.
president, but as a parent, you know, of 2 daughters. He was just thinking about the devastation, and he had mentioned that these are kids who will never reach their potential, never grow up,
Never have a
never go to
wedding.
college,
Yeah.
never have a wedding, never celebrate all the things that we celebrate with our children. And it's such a mass number of people. This is a small town of 27,000 people.
Wow.
That's about the size of the North End. Okay, that town is about the size of the North End, or the South End for that fact, because the city of Hartford is basically almost in half.
Right.
So you got half on one side, half on the other. So that's about half of the city of Hartford.
Right.
That's how small that town is. And well, really, it's like a district, because we're like 125,000.
Oh,
There
my
are 27,000 people. Okay, so they're 1/5 of us. That's a very small place. And 28 murders. That's 28 funerals. You know, 28 families that are being directly affected,
Never again.
but cousins and nieces and neighbors and friends and associates and co-workers. It was so devastating that the fire department just had to take a step back before they could go in, because they knew these kids.
I heard about that too. They said the first one, what do you call responders?
The first responders
that came out there, they broke down when
yeah,
they saw
yeah.
what had happened.
Because the town is so
can't recover
small.
From that. No.
They know these kids. They
Yes.
know their families. The kids are like up in the fire trucks when they have, you know, parades and stuff like we do with our kids. You know, the fire department comes out and lets the kids go inside the truck, and they have the little woolly warehouse that the kids learn about fire, you know, methodology and stuff. So they knew those kids. And that was very hard. And I'm telling you, I never ever want to go through that, because I will lose my mind.
I know. And how do
I'm
you talk
telling
to,
you, I would
was going to
lose
say,
my
Arjo,
mind.
how as a parent do we talk to our kids about it? Because still have young children who are hearing about it. Hearing about this.
Right.
And what do I say to my child?
Yeah, and you know what? I think that, and I don't know what the city of Hartford plans to do about this, but I think that parents need to be talking to the Board of Ed, to the mayor, to the council, because until this kind of blows over, and I know that this is going to be costly to the residents,
Right.
but Mayor Segarra, you got to get with the police chief, and you all have got to, I mean, even if you do like community organizations, to just be outside the schools, just to parade them for a while, to make kids feel safe, because kids are looking at this. Even my 6-year-old granddaughter, I was telling her, say, Grandma, how did he get 2 guns in the school? So kids are thinking about this stuff. And parents who own weapons, be very careful, because your child might feel the need that if they know you have a gun, they might feel that they need to protect themselves and take those guns to their school.
That's
you
right.
see? So you got to watch kids. And you got to really, really, I don't even care if you know you got a gun, check your kid's book bag before you send them to school, because you don't know.
That's right.
Make sure they don't have any knives in it, because kids will do what they know. This is about survival.
That's right.
And if they think that them or their friends or somebody can be threatened, they might want to take up the role of, I'm going to protect my friends.
I agree.
I'm going to make sure that if somebody comes in, I'm going to make sure that nobody's going to hurt my teacher.
I agree. It's hard.
So parent, you're gonna have to, and I don't know how we get around it, but it's something that we're gonna need to continue to talk about, and we're gonna need to continue to talk about it for a while. And also, exiting is a problem, because those classrooms only had one exit.
Yes.
So if the perpetrator blocking the door, the kids can't get out.
They can't get out. I think there's going to be a lot of changes as a result of this. Not to say that all the murders and the incidents that happened prior to this event was insignificant, but I think that the magnitude, and just, I think as a people, we're just tired of this.
Yeah, this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, it happened. You know what?
Columbine,
Yeah,
Virginia Tech, absolutely.
Yeah, time out. It's enough. And one other thing that I think that community organizations have got to get to their elected officials and go, you know what, now is the time for community organizations to get inside those schools, because we're always bogged down with, well, this one can't get in because they don't have this certification. This one can't get in because they don't have that kind of certification. The only certification that they should need is the desire to protect children and their lives. So I don't know what organizations are out there. I don't know. I do know some. I don't know how many organizations are out there. But each of you should get to your local elected officials, get to your state legislators, and mandate funds for you to get out to help protect these children.
How?
They have access to dollars for, you know, anti-violence, gun violence, after school program, Title I. The Board of Ed gets millions of Title I dollars every year to do after school programs for failing schools. Hartford, you got enough of them. All right? They don't use this money for after school programs because they roll it over in their general budget at the end of the year and give each other budgets. Stop it. Use that money to help protect these kids, because you don't want to have one child to end up in the type of incident that happened in Newtown, Connecticut. That's not that far away. Make sure nonprofit organizations, churches have access to these schools so that these kids feel protected. Not only they feel protected, they will be protected, because if you're patrolling the outside of the school, how many individual perpetrators are going to try to come inside the school? And while the reality is it may not happen, but do you want to be the school that it does happen?
No, absolutely not.
Do you want to be the person that, you know, just out of the clear blue sky, somebody sees this and go, oh, that's a good idea, and they go do it too? You don't want to be that person to lose one child's life.
That's right.
So what is a few dollars to hire somebody to patrol the area so that the children feel safe, so that they come inside the building?
That's right. And it's, again, it's that heightened reality that you have an incident that just happened, and now you have the reality of the copycats. Those out there who thinking, well, look, if this person could do it without having to buzz in, shoot around the door or whatever they did, and now take it to the next level. We really need to this is the time for change.
No, absolutely, absolutely it is. And it's a time for, you know, organizations and communities and local governments to come in to work together. Like the president was saying, get rid of all the red tape. The 100% thing that we should be fighting for right now is the safety of our children, and to make our children feel safe. Because right now, they're not even safe behind a locked door. And if I was at Newtown, I'm telling you right now, this is Arjo, I would have a very difficult time sending my child to school. I really would have a difficult time, you know, in doing that. So I don't know where these parents are emotionally. I know that a lot of the churches in the area are trying to help them to get some sanity around, you know, what has happened, try to make some sense of, you know, why this happening. I just want to give you some encouragement. It's not you. It's nothing that you could have done, nothing that you could have controlled. You did the right thing by sending your child to school that day, because that was where your children get education. That is where they work and build on their future. That is where you wanted them to be so that they would have aspirations for tomorrow. The problem is not with you. The problem is that this individual child had mental issues, some things that were going on with him that had nothing to do with you, the parent of the children, or the adults who were there in the schools with those children. This was a family, you know, incident that happened that, you know, imposed on all of us, you know, because none of us can escape this.
That's correct. And we pray for those families as well as they recover. And I know that President Obama had mentioned, you know, we're all family at the end of the road, and we just need to be able to support one another through this difficult time. And do you think that Obama's going to, I know that he said that the resources and everything are open at this point.
Right. You don't got time for red tape. You need to just open the floodgates. And if this increases the deficit, well, you know what? Reach in your pocket and be willing to pull out those taxes. Because these are the kind of things that happen. So the Republicans will say, okay, in 2012, you know, there was a big whole increase in deficit. Well, you know what? So what? Because we're talking about what's real, and this is about human capital. That's right. And human capital, to me, is more important than bricks and mortar. That's correct. I don't care if you can't build a road. I don't care if you can't put up a new bridge. I don't care if you have to go without a stop sign or a speed bump. We're talking about lives.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
open up the pocketbooks and let's make this happen, because our children are the 100 most important resources that we
Absolutely.
have.
They're our future. They're our future.
Yeah, we're not going to have a really bright future if our kids aren't safe, if they don't feel like they're safe. It's very, very difficult. So parents, make sure that you continue to have conversations with your children to let them know, and these are one of those times where you're like, I don't know, what even the children, could have done. They're locked in a room. They can't get out. So it was very, very difficult. And I know for years and years and years, the school system, the police department, the government is going to be trying to figure out, what they could have done to prevent this. And I'm telling you, just some things happen that are just not preventable that we see. The only thing that I could see that it was preventable, that he could not have gotten his hands on a gun had the mother not had the guns in the home, had she not encouraged, probably taught the children how to shoot the gun, because it was something that she was interested in. So she invited her children to also participate in that. But did she know that at some point this was going to happen? I have to say no. I don't know her, but I have to think that she never in her wildest mind thought that her child might do this.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And I understand that there were some teachers and a maintenance man that stepped up and was directing the kids and bringing them to different parts of the school. So they weren't going to be in the line of fire.
Big ups to those people who even during that situation was telling, the kids, look, come on, let's get in the corner, let's hide, let's move ourselves on, let's make sure that, I know you hear that, I know you see that, just block your eyes to that and just keep moving this way, just keep moving, this way. We want to thank you all, for doing that, to try to, save them from some of the pain and seeing their classmates and schoolmates in that condition. And thanks to all of the state troopers and the forensic personnel who are coming in to help, identify the fatalities and do the autopsies and stuff. I mean, this has to be really, really devastating, for those individuals. And, continue for those of you to believe in the word. Continue to stay prayerful that you're going to get past this. Are you going to ever forget your child? I would tell you, no. You're never going to forget them. Are you going to forever love them? Yes. You're always going to love them. But try to put this emotion in a place that you can live on, that you can carry on, that you can cherish the other people, the other family, the other children around you, so that, all of you are able to say, yes, we loved whoever it was, this happened, we're devastated by it, but you gotta find some kind of strength to help yourself to move on. And remember, if there was ever a time for all of us to band together, to help strengthen our sisters and brothers, to teach the children, that our love has got to be colorblind. This isn't about black or white or Latino. This is about people, period. So we have got to do this. Teach your children that, love has to be colorblind. And success really is, for each and every person willing to work for it. So let's band together, put our arms around, these individuals. And also, what about, in your communities? In the city of Hartford, we will have over 300 murders this year.
Really, Arjo?
In the not this year, but since in the last 3-4 years.
Wow,
there's been over 300 murders. And I know that, Pastor Sam Saylor is on a crusade, to have the police department beef up, their efforts to resolving these cold cases, because these are also people whose lives were taken out through violence. And, Reverend Henry Brown, are out there. We have got to continue to support these efforts, but more importantly, we need to support organizations like, Community for You, who is saying, let's head this off. Let's do the prevention so we don't have to worry about what comes after. And we're going through all the counseling and the crisis intervention. If you are a crisis intervention counselor, get to the Hartford school system. Let them know that even though this did not happen in Hartford, I'm telling you, it's still affecting our children. And it's going to be something that children are going to talk about, years and years and years from now. So all of you continue to work with each other. Continue to make those phone calls. Continue to encourage your children to do good. And don't forget, if you are a person who have a handgun in your home, you know who you are. Check your children's book bags before they go to school. Ensure that they're not taking weapons to school as a manner of protection, because the child might not know how far Newtown is. They might think that them and their friends are maybe under attack. So love your children, and come back and join us here again next Saturday when I know we'll talk a little bit more about this, but hopefully not as much. All of you who are interested, in helping children get to your school system, let them know that you can be a helper. All right? And join us right back here on All Politics is Local with your host, Arjo.